filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah.
Or on a horse.
Shout out to like our theme song for Bad Cops, which is just like a homage to The Simpsons. But we got Facebook chatter here. Facebook is getting like, people want peace. People want, don't want to, hang out with Nazis and terrorists. I think we all kind of agree. We don't want to like, hang out with a Nazi who was found with a pipe bomb. Maybe,
I think slightly differently. I'd like to reunite with people if it's possible that we can kind of de-escalate the extremism
from person to person.
Yeah, from person to person. It starts grassroots. It starts with, it's us being welcoming the people on the left and the right to engage in the conversation on this show and on others. Holding, more civil discourse if possible, because some people can't be reasoned with, obviously. But I think that it is possible because
that's why there's ban buttons for those people who can't reason. But there's
right, we got that also, going, right?
But there's people are also curious. Everyone comes from different points of places, And
a lot of these people that have been radicalized, we don't understand how they got radicalized.
Yeah, because some of these people who went out there in the Capitol probably voted for Obama twice. So
yeah. The thing is, I've heard from a lot of people that I've gotten into conversations with randomly on places like Facebook and Twitter, and a lot of them are saying, I voted for, the black man. How can I be racist? I voted for Obama. And a lot of people are just feeling disenfranchised no matter what they do.
I voted for Biden. I'm not racist.
What?
I voted for Biden. I'm not racist. I'm not racist against white people.
I thought that you were racist against young people. That's why you voted for like the super old people.
Oldest man ever. So but the thing is that it's also about accountability. If Nazis are actually going there and killing people, and people helping them, people should be held accountable for that kind of stuff. And it goes to like what's happening here. And luckily we're like in New York City, with a little bubble in New York City. We still have crazy stuff happening here, but we also have sometimes the pendulum swings the other way, which is great in New York City. So we have an attorney general that's suing the NYPD and store monitor and alleged of years of civil rights abuses. So I want to step back real quick. In Black Power Magic Hour, we showed, remember that police riot that Rudy Giuliani ignited, like in 1992?
With the police? And remember, the riot wasn't like lawless people. The riot was composed of the law.
That riot was because they wanted to install a civil review board. It didn't exist before, so it was trying to install that basic aspect of it. And at the time, it was just going to be like other cops on it, off-duty cops and stuff. So it was trying to hold accountability for the police. So this is what this is trying to do in New York City, pretty much. So I want to scroll down here. So James was tasked by Governor Andrew Cuomo investigating the police department's handling of the protest that sparked by George Floyd's death. So on Thursday, today, the civil investigation found an egregious abuse of police power. She just watched the clips a few times. A rampant, excessive use of force and leadership unable and willing to stop it. We watched it all the summer of like cop cars running people over, beating people up, arresting people who are way smaller than them and beating them up.
You see this little clip of the police pulling down somebody's mask who was completely non-threatening, pulling down his mask to pepper spray him in the face. Like, what?
And just the other day, we had a cop who stood outside, who pulled his gun out to intimidate protesters. That happened, I think, last night or the night before in New York City. He pulled his gun out. So they're used to bicycles and as kettling and containment, which cause significant harm. The fish strikes, pepper spray, physical force, batons.
Fake arrests.
Yeah, we saw all these videos. Produce excessive enforcement. And then, so de Blasio asked for investigation of the videos showed police officers dousing protesters, elected officials, and journalists with chemical irritants, shoving a woman to the ground. And in one instance, remember, we saw this, driving police vehicles into them, which happened like kind of down the street where I live. When they ran those people over, it's like near like Sweet Chicks. So Bill de Blasio, he really helped the community over the summer. He was like, respect the police, kiss their boots while they're stepping on your face. That's what de Blasio was telling us during the whole summer. He wasn't really a good unifier during the summertime at all.
Yeah, but then the fucking police union said that he was doing the opposite. You know, like
even after they turn their backs on him, he's still like. So yeah. So this is what's happening. We have to see what happens. So this is really significant here. And if Phil can click this video real quick, the NYPD lawsuit.
In a new federal lawsuit, State Attorney General Letitia James files a lawsuit and demands changes within the New York City Police Department. But some local leaders oppose federal oversight. CBS 2 political reporter Mr. Kramer has more.
So some people don't want
New Yorkers
oversight
have
of the
seen
police
and
beating
been
people up.
appalled
So.
by the videos. Bystanders sprayed with pepper spray, a squad car driving into a crowd of protesters, a woman pushed to the ground by police. Attorney General Letitia James says those and many more occurrences were civil rights violations. She filed suit in federal court to force the NYPD to change both its training and discipline. But she doesn't think that Mayor de Blasio or Police Commissioner Dermot Shea are the ones to enact change. She wants a judge to appoint an outside monitor.
The complaint outlines over and speaks to the fact that 30 incidents involve the use of pepper spray, 50 incidents in which officers used baton, 75 incidents in which all protesters were punched or shoved.
The Attorney General charged that the police not only attacked protesters, but also went after legal observers and medics, including Rain Valentine, who was on his way home from a job at Kings County Hospital when he saw cops beating up a protester. When he tried to record it, the cops turned on him, beating him with batons.
Oh my God. I did not know this happened.
The Attorney General's lawsuit comes on the heels of a damaging report by the Department of Investigation, which found that the NYPD lacked a clearly defined strategy for responding to large-scale protests.
My office is seeking broad injunctive relief.
This isn't the first time a monitor has been
It's almost like she's trying to get attacked.
NYPD. In 2013, a judge appointed
Look at all the people she's going at.
Question and frisk policies were found to have violated the rights of minorities. Then mayoral candidate Bill de Blasio embraced the judge's findings and even used his son in a now legendary commercial.
I want to tell you a little bit about Bill de Blasio.
Ironically,
his daughter got arrested last summer.
That was so fake too. Like you can't even call him your dad.
That must and will be made this year. The mayor said in
older gentleman.
But he added, "quote
who bored
the court
me.
process and the added bureaucracy of a federal monitor will not speed up this work." The NYPD also went on record
you're not
opposing
doing
the
nothing
appointment
either.
of the monitor. The PVA pointed out that many cops were also injured during the protests. I'm Marcia Kramer, CBS 2 News.
I like someone says, "Shut up about negativity." That's how you shut up negativity, by shouting at it. But shout out to Facebook. I know it's pretty lit right now. I mean, this is healthy conversation here. No one's like talking about MAGA forever, bot stuff. This is real conversation, which is great. This is kind of stuff that needs to happen. But that's the bad cops thing. NYPD is getting lawsuit away because Bill de Blasio and our commissioner hasn't done nothing, and they're not going to do nothing. So we have to appoint like a third party force to hopefully monitor the NYPD. It may be symbolic, it may actually go somewhere, but this is pretty significant. This is happening right now, and it's a harbinger of things to come. Of Attorney General is really putting on the gas when it comes to things. And who knows? Trump might be, the next guy getting the lawsuits. So,
yeah, I just want to put a message out there. We need everybody to be civil in the comments. Like, we can't be attacking people for the ideologies. If you don't agree, just say you disagree and explain why. There's no
especially
need to be that's not what we do here.
Especially if someone is like tweeting, messaging peace and love with like heart emoji.
Yeah, like and it's obvious she's not saying, hey, it's obvious Dawn Davenport is not saying, hey, everybody, let's unite with people leaving pipe bombs and throwing fire extinguishers at police officers. Obviously, that's not what she's saying. Like, let's be reasonable here. It's not hard to be reasonable. Like, there is a rift in this country, and before we radicalize more people who will be more violent, we need to extend a hand to the other side, and hopefully we get a hand back from the other side. Because if we don't make that move, we're looking at civil war. That's what we're looking at.
We
I
got-
know that it's very easy to feel like your position is one of moral superiority. I get that, because if you're thinking reasonably, yeah, your position is actually is morally superior. Like, there's no doubt about that. But trying to lord it over people, oh, I'm not going to reunite with. Very few people who voted for Donald Trump participated in what we saw last Wednesday. Very few people. We're talking about thousands out of 75 million supporters.
But I think the
That's
unsettling
like with
thing,
the Black Lives Matter. You know, people wanted to say, oh, look at all of these thugs and hooligans and looters, but there was only a handful of them.
yeah, but I
98,
think,
99,
but I think
99 point something percent were peaceful. We still have a chance to hold off complete chaos around the country. We have a chance, but we got to be civil when we talk to each other.
Yeah.
That's where it starts. We got to be civil. Please.
yeah, I think
If you're
I
in
think-
our comment section, disagree as vehemently as you want to, but please remain civil. Please.
I think what happened last week, what triggers people, what happened, burping from last week, was the fact that, you know, the more comes out about the rioters, the more unsettling it gets. Like, you realize it wasn't just like hooligans with no jobs. It was like bankers, brokers, small business owners,
Yep.
you know, retired firefighters, retired Air Force PSYOPs officers. You know, it was like middle class, upper middle class people, and it wasn't just like Cletus the Slackjaw Yoko, which the media kind of like it's been pushing on people, just showing like the guy with the horns and like the guy with his boots on the desk. But really, what's unsettling was like all these kind of rich people getting on private jets to fly there and be at that rally and then support the rally and then like give all the money, the logistics for it. That's what's unsettling about that. So, but the thing is, like, we're not getting focused on that. When you turn to MSNBC, you're not going to hear that kind of rationale what's happening. It's going to be like, Trump said this, fuck Trump, Trump said that, you know, like, so it's just more Trump. But hopefully when Trump leaves office, we're actually going to like narrow down to more people, individual people, because that's the thing. 74 million people. How many people voted for Trump? They voted more for him the second time than the first time. It's absurd, you know. It boggles your mind, but at the same time, we have time to figure it out because he's not president now. So we actually have time to figure out. We're not fighting to survive anymore. That's what I felt like when Trump was president. It felt like I had to fight to survive and a fight to, like, you know, this whole ideology battle was happening. It's like
Actually, I was going to mention that too. The ideology battle is a real fucking issue because everybody wants to blame Trump, but there's a reason why Trump ended up in the White House, because that sentiment was already growing amongst people, and he just became the face of that movement.
It's proof because, like, you see, there's proof right now. The fact it took them 5 years to ban this man. So it's proof right there to show that people just let him linger around. So before the election, the same thing happened. Here in Black Power, we show old ass articles about Trump all the time that people were warning about him in elections. But we can have there's probably books about all the articles warning you about Trump right now in 2016, and like those all came out, and yet that still hasn't convinced anybody. So I don't know. So that's Bad Cops. So that's a great segment there. So hopefully people check that out. But I really want to go into this other thing what's happening right now, because COVID-19 is pretty horrible right now. It's really horrible situation. It's like kind of blocking it out. So I want to like compare. So right now people say I live in Mexico now, and I find myself telling people here that I'm sorry for what he's done and said. So people, you have to apologize for Trump as an American now. So
I think that's a problem too. Like, I think that a lot of times we take on responsibility that don't belong to us. And it's like, listen, I just lived in the fucking country. All right. I didn't do that.
I think that's the thing Black people had to like process a long time ago in some ways. Like even though America treats us like total shit, we're still Americans. So it's like, oh, like, so like
I get annoyed when some of my white friends like try to apologize for, you know, racist. It's like, are you the one acting racist? It's not your responsibility then.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes like I talk to some white people, and you know, they ask me, you know, what can we do? I'm like, well, just be yourself. You know, if you're truly a good person, then just be yourself. You don't need to have to, you know, I don't need you to virtue signal to show me just how not racist you are. Just I don't know.
Awareness, it's the fact
don't
that
interfere with my life.
It's the fact that he's asking about it. That's the step. You already have the awareness. So having the awareness already shows that that's yourself. So
You
continue that
asking the
awareness.
question is enough.